In this demonstration, I'm going to show you a very simple information system to store patients, and then that I'm going to use Access. So let's start it and open program, and I'm going to launch Microsoft Access, and my purpose is to create a database called patient and create a form as a GUI which can retrieve the information and display on the form. So it's a blank database, and I'm going to find the location. And this is a Office 2010. So probably different from yours, which is 2013. And I'm going to find a location that can store my information. Um, so I'm going to create a new database called database 14 and click OK, and then click create. So what's happening is create a blank database, and my first step is to create a database table. So as a database, as you see from the reading material, database contains multiple tables. So I'm going to create in a design view of Access, and I say this is a patient table, and click OK. And first of all, I got to create a new field. So in the table, in database table, you have to define the field first. This is different from the Excel. You just have headings, and after that you have a column with the data corresponding to the heading. You don't need to define the data type for each column. But in database tables, each field you are going to store, you got to define the data type, and then you got to define maybe the format. And this is more restrict. So first field we're going to create is called patient ID, and is a data type is what is the text, and then this is a 10 characters. So you can see data type we define it as a text. You can multiple, you can have a memo, number, date type, currency, auto number, but I use text, which means a string. And size in the field property, size means you are able to accommodate up to 10 characters. So this is the first one. Second one says first name, and is a text, again is string, and I'm going to say this is 30 characters. And then you have a last name, and again I'm going to choose 30 characters as the maximum length. And then you will have date of birth, and date of birth is what is a daytime. It's a daytime. Now you could store longer data format or short. So you click the format in the field operation here. You can choose different format. I'm going to choose short date because what I'm interested is the dates, not the time. And then you can have the gender, and gender could be only male, female. So I'm going to use one character to store the information. And then if you notice that in the patient ID, next to the patient ID there is a key. We call this the primary key. Now primary key is one of the keys in the database. The primary key means each table should have a primary key that indicates the value of this field is unique, so that you can identify a record. If you have 1,000 record, you should have 1,000 different patient ID. So this is called primary key. Alright, so this is primary key that we are going to save this. And then this is a design view, and design view show you the data type for each field. Now let's go to the data sheet view that's display the data. Now because we just create from scratch, so everything is blank. Let's just type in some data, and the first name and last name and date of birth, and gender is male. Then go to the next field, and this is another patient, and then this is the last name, and this is the I just make some record, and then the gender is male also. So that's see I when I enter I say that this is the primary key. If you don't enter different value, the system doesn't allow you to enter the data, so you gotta change to be 2, and it's fine. If this is 1, it doesn't allow you to save. Now in Access, when you are moving your cursor from the current active record to the next record, the data is stored. So it's going to be stored. So you want to store it and find that 2 values are identical, which against the primary key property. So you say the change you request were not successful because create a duplicate value. See that here? So click OK and then change to be 2, then you'll be fine. Then you can create another one called married, and you can have the make up some date of birth, and then this is female, and then we can have another one, and this is called you can have John, you can have James, and you can have the make up some data, and I just randomly make some data. So I move to next line, and then this is to be fine. So now it's saved. The data is saved now. So therefore, we create the database table, right? Like in the design view, and define the data type for each field. Now in that Excel, you don't need to do it, but Access you have to do it. And then you also define the property for each field, including the format. I didn't do that much because I just simplify it as a demonstration. Go to the data you have. Now I'm going to create a form, which is a graphical user interface that displays the data from the database. So I'm going to create a form, more forms. Click more forms, and then model dialog. And this is a form, and I want to design it, but I want to use it the easy way. I want to add existing field, and I show one table only. So I double click this table, the fields for this table, patient table, it moves to the form, and that's what I want. So once I finish moving the fields from a table to the form, you can close it. And next step is you can see the default. You have 2 buttons created. 2 buttons has been created automatically. So we can move to the top, and then I can change the design, like moving up a little bit, and then move it up to the left, so make it more concise. Then I want to add a title, so that we can indicate what kind of form is this. This is the patient information. So this is patient information, and again I'm moving up a little bit. Okay, so now we define the form, and then we also add the field. So now we can save it. So you can save it and name this as a patient, and we can click OK. Now let's go to the form view. This is a design view. Now we go to form view. Now this is a dialog. Because this is a model dialog, so what you can do is only manipulate this form, and you can't do anything about the access except you accept this form. This is called a model dialog. And then you see the first records only. So if you want to make it more practical, so that you are able to move the record from first record, second record, and third record, you got to add more control, which is called button, allows you to navigate the records. Let's close it, and then go back to the design view of the form. And I'm going to add a new button, which is a click here. I add new buttons that is called. I click it, the wizard appear. I'm going to add the new the button. The button is going to navigate the record and go to next record. click. So this is the action, this is the category. This is the navigation category, and go to next record as an action. Then I want to show next record on the button. Alright, so I click text instead of picture. I want to see next record. So I go to next and finish. Now I want to add one more. I want to add one more button. So I'm going to click the button, and then I add one more buttons. And I want again, this button is in the category of navigation action where we go to the previous record. I want to show the previous records on the text on the button. I click on next and finish. So now if you save it and go to the form view, you have a dialog, and then you are able to go to next record and go back to previous record. Okay, so this is great. Alright, now so this is a GUI connect to Access database and display the information record by record, which is good. Now what I want is, so the next step is I want to change the table, and I want to show you when you change the fields, add more fields. Now you can't delete the field, but if you add more fields or resequence the field, the GUI still working. So let's just take a look. Go to the table, go to the view, go to the design. I'm going to add one more field called telephone number. I added, and telephone number you can store 10 characters. So it's a text, string, and 10 characters. Now I'm going to save it because I changed it, and also I'm going to resequence. I bring up the gender before the date of birth, and I resequence that the first name after the first name will show up in the database table. So the first name make it be after the last name. So what we are doing is we actually change the schema, which means the table design, the table. We change the fields order, we add more field, we update the schema. However, we want to see whether the form is still working or not. Alright, so we save it, and the key is still patient ID, and this is all resequenced. And one more fields over here. We close it, and we double click the form. The GUI is still working. See, even though you resequence in your database table, and you have last name before first name, and then you have another one which is called telephone number, but it doesn't show up here. But the GUI is still working. This is called independence. Independence means you change your schema, but your GUI doesn't gonna affect it. So this is called conceptual independence. Now this is but in the file base, once you change your file, you resequence it, you have to modify your application. But in our case, we are using Access database. The database, when you change the table, you can delete the fields, but when you add fields, resequence, I just show you the sequence order, but your GUI is still working. And if this is a file-based system, then you have to change your program. Alright, so I'm just give you a demonstration using the Access and a form and a table, and to show you the independence of the change of your schema, which is your table, and then it doesn't affect your GUI. Okay, so this is a demonstration to show how to show the advantage of using a database system for a patient application, patient information application. Alright, I'm going to show you another one. Alright, thank you.